This is the Qtv Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM. And I am Mamna Buka. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. Usainu Bojang, the man accused of the September 2023 shooting to death of 2 PIU officers and the wounding of another at the Sukuta Jabang Traffic Lights Junction, today left court a free man after being acquitted and discharged following a lengthy trial which had gripped the nation. President Barrow says his government's nationwide feeder roads project is a decisive step towards national transformation aimed at connecting rural communities, boosting agricultural productivity and reducing inequality. The Gambia Public Procurement Authority and the staff of the National Assembly concluded a 3-day capacity building training course on public procurement processes and practices as part of efforts to strengthen transparency and accountability in the management of public funds. In a bid to empower local farmers and boost food security in the Gambia Women's Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with Shelter for Life International, concluded a 3-day farmers market at the Westfield Youth Monument in the Kanifing municipality. In sports news, the community of Latrikunda organized a football tournament on Friday to raise funds to refurbish and equip their mortuary. These and more coming ahead. Do stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, Usainu Bojang, the man accused of the September 2023 shooting to death of 2 PIU officers and the wounding of another at the Sukuta Jabang Traffic Lights Junction, today left court a free man after being acquitted and discharged following a lengthy trial which had gripped the nation. His sister, who was accused as an accessory, was also acquitted. Usman Jatta was in court and he tells us more.
On the night of Tuesday, September 12, 2023, the Sukuta Jabang traffic lights was the scene of a deadly attack. Police constables Sanjay Mendy and Pate Jallo were shot dead while on duty, while a third officer, Ansay Jawa, was seriously injured. Nearly 2 years on, over the course of the trial, the case gripped the nation, raising difficult questions about justice, accountability and truth. Prosecutors accused Usainu Bojang of carrying out the attack, charging him with murder and acts of terrorism. His sister, Ami Bojang, was accused of helping him escape. The state relied on eyewitness accounts and post-incident movements to link him to the crime. But the defense argued there was no reliable identification and no forensic evidence connecting him to the shooting. Inside a packed High Court in Banjul, families of both victims and the accused sat in silence as Justice Ibrahima Jaita delivered his judgment line by line. The court held that the prosecution was required to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt, including confirming that the officers died as a result of an unlawful act. A post-mortem report confirmed both men died from gunshot wounds. However, the court raised serious concerns over the prosecution's case. Justice Jaita pointed to a major inconsistencies among the 13 prosecution witnesses, with conflicting description of the alleged suspect's height, clothing and appearance. Key physical evidence was also questioned, including footwear allegedly linked to the accused that did not match witness accounts. The court further found that aspects of the investigation violated Section 60 and 61 of the Anti-Terrorism Act, noting the absence of video evidence of the accused's interrogation and raising concerns over due process. Allegations of pressure, prolonged detention and torture were also highlighted. Justice Jaita noted that throughout the trial, the defense maintained a consistent position that Usainu Bojang was not guilty. In his final judgment, Justice Jaita ruled that the prosecution failed to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. Usainu Bojang was discharged and acquitted on all counts. His sister, Ami Bojang, was also cleared, with the court finding no credible evidence linking her to the crime. The courtroom erupted in mixed emotions, relief, shock and tears as the verdict was delivered. Defense counsel Lamin J. Dabo later addressed the media.
Justice Jaita delivered a rock-solid decision in this judgment. And so the state, obviously, they said they want to appeal the matter. But this is clear. There was no case from the onset. The matter should not have gone to court. They were just trying to cover up. I don't know the reason why the 2 police officers were killed and the 3rd one injured. But I know very well that Usainu Bojang was not even present. And the government, or the state, I should say, know that he was not even there. So the question is, why did they drag him to court and allow the actual killers, who I believe the government knows, to walk free?
After years of legal arguments and submissions, many Gambians still ask the million-dollar question, who really killed Sanjay Mendy and Pate Jallow? A legal chapter might be closed, but this search for justice and accountability continues. Osman Jata, Qtv News, Banjul High Court.
President Barrow says his government's nationwide feeder roads project is a decisive step towards national transformation aimed at connecting rural communities, boosting agricultural productivity, and reducing inequality. Alusi Sey is on the tour and he now reports.
President Barrow is on a 6-day tour to lay the foundation stones for the construction of over 200 kilometers of feeder roads under the Gambia Inclusive and Resilient Agricultural Value Chain Development Project, GIRAV, funded by the World Bank at a total cost of $25.5 million. The initiative is aimed at boosting agricultural productivity, improving rural connectivity, and linking farming communities to markets and essential services. On day 1 of the tour in the North Bank region on Saturday, the President, accompanied by Agriculture Minister Demba Sabali, GIRAV project officials, and high-level delegation, presided over a series of foundation stone laying ceremonies covering 75.7 kilometers across Nyomi, Jokado, and Badibu in the North Bank region. The roads include key links from Kerjata to Ndofan and Kerwali, Fas Njaga Choy through Mane to Nungukebe, and Kerselen through Kabokoto to Hakalang. Additional projects were launched in Kuntaya, Makafarafenye, Iliyasa, and Yalot Nankonjala. The longest stretch spans over 24 kilometers from Mintekunda to Njawara, where President Barrow held a well-attended meeting. President Barrow emphasized that the feeder roads project reflects his government's commitment to equitable development.
It reflects our unwavering commitment to building resilient, inclusive and economically vibrant Gambia, as articulated in our National Development Plan, and reinforced under the Green Recovery Focused Development Agenda.
He added that the project will unlock economic potential, strengthen food security, and promote national cohesion.
Agriculture remains the backbone of our economy and the primary source of livelihood for majority of our population. Yet, for far too long, our farmers have faced significant challenges in transporting their produce to markets.
Franklin Mutahakana, World Bank Group country representative, said the World Bank has committed a total of $108 million to the GIRAV project. He emphasized on quality construction, timely delivery, and community-based maintenance to ensure sustainability.
The GIRAV project has achieved significant development outcomes over the years of implementation by supporting small and medium enterprises and smallholders to transition from subsistence to a more market-oriented agriculture model, paving way for food security, better household incomes, and job creation.
Community leaders, including Governor Lamin Sedikan, Chief Abala Kinte of Lower Badibu, Maindur, a gardener in Fas Njaga Choy, and Honorable Umar Dabo, National Assembly member for Upper Nyami constituency, expressed appreciation for the projects, describing them as transformative for rural livelihoods.
You know, some of these roads where they are intervening, they are very crucial, and I give a clear example of that of Upper Nyami. You see, the road is passing through Keresele, Keresidiki, Kabakoto, Malkinana. And there is a valley between Keresidiki and Keresele. And there was a time a student lost his life there. You know, when people are going to the school, health facilities, to the lumos, you know, crossing that place during the rainy season is always very difficult.
Suleiman Sumare Jane, the managing director of the National Roads Authority, described the initiative as a milestone for national development.
The roads shall be built to the required standards set by the National Roads Authority, which is going to be in accordance to all other roads that are being constructed in the Gambia.
On Sunday, President Barrow continued with inspections of ongoing roadworks, including Yao Karol Wharf Road and Karantaba through Damfai to Fitifula Loop, expressing satisfaction with the quality and progress. The projects are awarded to Cornerstone, a Gambian-owned construction company. The president then proceeded to the Upper River region, where he laid foundation stones for the Sare Fodike to Sare Jamumbalo Road in Sandu and Chamoy Bunda to Limambulu in Wuli West before a meeting. On Monday, he continues the tour into the Central River region south to perform similar activity for the Sincho Alaji to Sparta Sam Road and a major 2-kilometer stretch linking several communities to Bansang. A key highlight of the tour is expected on Tuesday in Brikamaba, where the president will distribute what officials describe as the largest consignment of agricultural equipment ever delivered in the country. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The Gambia Public Procurement Authority and staff of the National Assembly have concluded a 3-day capacity building training on public procurement processes and practices. The initiative forms part of ongoing efforts to strengthen transparency, efficiency, and accountability in the management of public funds. Jacqueline Colley was in Sindola in Kanilai and Shena reports.
The training brought together key personnel from the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly, the Contracts Committee, the Special Procurement Unit, and the Finance and Audit Departments, with a focus of improving compliance with procurement laws and enhancing institutional performance. The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Jules Cisse, underscored the critical link between procurement and national development.
Public procurement is not merely an administrative function. It is a core pillar of public financial management and one of the most strategic instruments through which government policies are translated into tangible services, infrastructure, development outcomes for our citizens.
She stressed the need for procurement systems to be closely aligned with national budgets and public financial management processes to ensure fiscal discipline and effective service delivery. The Clerk of the National Assembly, Khalifa M. Mbai, highlighted the importance of leading by example, noting that the National Assembly's oversight role must be backed by strong internal compliance.
Then to demand accountability from others, as I said, we must first demonstrate an unwavering commitment as a parliament to the highest standards of procedural integrity within our own service. In this regard, we must lead by example, as the saying goes. We hold people to account, we must also be accountable.
The director of GPPA, Fode Jaite, described procurement as central to government performance and warned of the risks associated with poor practice.
When procurement is handled professionally, it builds infrastructure and creates jobs. When it is done poorly or mismanaged, it cripples our nation's economy.
The Director of Procurement Policy and Operations of the GPPA, Ibrahim Asanyang, pointed to recent legal and institutional reforms aimed at strengthening the sector.
The reforms were introduced to address gaps in implementation, strengthen compliance, and align the national procurement system with international best practices. More importantly, they seek to reposition public procurement from a routine administrative function to a strategic role or tool for effective public financial management and national development.
He noted that the success of these reforms will depend largely on the capacity of institutions and practitioners to properly implement them. The training is expected to equip participants with both technical knowledge and practical skills in key areas such as procurement planning, bid evaluation, contract management, and compliance monitoring. Organizers say the initiative will not only strengthen internal systems within the National Assembly and the GPPA, but also enhance collaboration with key institutions, ultimately contributing to improve public service delivery and, by extension, contribute to national development. Reporting for Qtv News, I am Jacqueline Colley.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national and sports news stories. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is the QTV Nightly News, and I am Mamna Buka. In a bid to empower local farmers and boost food security in the Gambia Women's Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with Shelter for Life International, has launched a 3-day farmers market at the Westfield Youth Monument in the Kanifing municipality. More in this report. The 3-day farmers market, held from March 24th to 26th, was designed as a strategic move to showcase a wide range of locally produced agricultural goods. These included fresh farm produce, agro-processed items, and other value-added products, all aimed at increasing the visibility and market reach of hard-working Gambian producers. Nafi Bari, president of the Gambia Women's Chamber of Commerce, elaborated on the initiative.
Tomorrow, if you want pepper, for example, or if you want sweet pepper, you know that Farmer X produces it. You can do direct contacts and get to them so that it becomes easier. It cuts the middlemen out of it and provides market for the farmers.
For participating farmers, many of whom traveled from rural areas, the market provided a rare opportunity to connect directly with urban consumers and bulk buyers, while also exchanging best practices and business strategies with fellow producers. Aji Yamanjai from CRR North and Amit Drame from Madina Serigne Mas, selling processed items and fresh vegetable produce, highlighted the kind of exposure and market access such opportunities provide.
In the past, much of our hard work went to waste because we lacked a consistent outlet for our produce. Today, these markets offer more than just a place to sell. They provide opportunities to build long-term business relationships. We have expanded into a wider, more stable market where customers now reach out directly for custom orders, creating a steady and reliable stream of income.
Abdullah Dumbuya, representing EcoSoil, stood out among the stalls showcasing organic fertilizers. Speaking on the significance of the farmers market and the products on display, he shared his perspective.
This EcoSoil fertilizer, we have 3 different organic things that we combine together, which is ground powder, and then the sludge, and also the biohomosis. Last year, I visited Basse. One of our customers, he went to his kitchen and then bring the sample of onion. You see this onion since last year I harvested and I'm still having it. So you can see, and then you cannot the chemical input don't give you that duration. So many people were asking, they don't know about us. And then today, many people took my number and they say that they need it. They will contact us. So that's the opportunity. It's a market for us also.
Despite the market's success, producers called for more support, citing gaps in packaging, storage, and transport as major barriers. Many have innovative processing ideas, but lack of essential materials limits their reach to local and international markets. Manfred Bojang, Cooperative Development and Grants Officer for the Crop Hedge project of Shelter for Life International, outlined the next steps being implemented to address some of the ongoing challenges faced by local farmers.
These are matching grants that would enable them to expand their business, to go into areas that they are not able to hopefully being able to explore because of their capacity. And this is what we want to do. Sometimes it's not only the production, but the value addition aspect, the processing aspect, the storage. These are areas that we also want to continue working with these people, with the beneficiaries.
The 3-day farmers market showcased Gambian produce, empowered rural farmers, and highlighted the need for continued support in packaging, storage, and transport to fully unlock the sector's growth and market potential. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News. The ECOWAS Permanent Mission in the Gambia, operating under the Office of the Vice President of the ECOWAS Commission, handed over key community infrastructure projects funded through the ECOWAS Fund for Regional Stabilization and Development. This transfer was to the Gambian government on behalf of local communities across multiple regions. Loli M. Kamara tells us more.
The handover included the presentation of fish smoking houses, fitted with the FTT Charoy ovens at the Bruford Fish Landing site, an agro-food processing center at the Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute, GTHI, in Kanifing, and a newly constructed, fully equipped dormitory workshop and additional facilities in Mansa Konko. According to Amijalo, Fisheries Staff Officer at the Bruford Fisheries Center, and Aja Hadijalo, a beneficiary at the Bruford Fisheries Center. The newly constructed smoking houses have significantly improved livelihoods for women, enhancing both production capacity and overall productivity. They noted that the new facilities have mitigated smoke-related health issues and created safer, more efficient work environments.
This smoking house is very important for the beneficiaries because first time they don't have enough smoke house. The smoke house they have is not healthy for them. But right now, all the women are very happy about it.
1977.
I have been working here since the birth of my first child. Since then, I have dedicated myself to this work. Today, I want to thank ECOWAS and the Gambian government for their foresight in establishing this facility. Previously, we suffered from excessive smoke exposure, but the new ovens have alleviated this issue. They also provided us with water access, proper ventilation, and sufficient workspace, improving our working conditions significantly.
The Fund for Regional Stabilization and Development, initiated by the ECOWAS Commission and supported by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, aims to foster peace, resilience, and economic vitality in fragile communities throughout West Africa. Her Excellency Damte El Chenchabicha, Vice President of the ECOWAS Commission, speaking at the Bruford Fish Smoking House, emphasized the importance of this project for empowering women and thanked all partners who contributed to its successful implementation.
This is international cooperation at its best, and it shows that when we join hands together, we can accomplish great things.
The delegation then visited the Agro-Food Processing Center at GTHI in Kanifing, where they received a guided tour of the new facility built under the pilot initiative. The center was officially handed over to the management by Vice President Chinchibicha. Christoph Ralph, Director for Africa at BMZ, expressed optimism about the prospects for local beneficiaries, primarily young entrepreneurs and workers, at a public event in Mansa Konko in the Lower River region.
Hopefully we'll have a good future, and education is the foundation for what comes afterwards. And I'm very optimistic that you will have a good training, a good vocational training, a good formation in this school.
Beneficiaries, community leaders, and government officials are now tasked with managing these assets responsibly to ensure lasting positive impact. For QTV News, Loliam Kamara.
In sports news, the community of Latrikunda organized a football tournament to raise funds to refurbish and equip their mortuary. The football competition featured the over 35s and, in addition to the fundraising, sought to strengthen unity and community participation. Our sports reporter Mamudu Gajaga was there and he now reports.
A powerful display of community spirit is taking shape in Latrikunda, not through protest or petitions, but through the universal language of football. Residents have turned to the sport they love to tackle a very serious and pressing need, refurbishing their local mortuary. John Mendy is one of the coordinators of the football competition and community initiative.
Yes, Latrikunda had always been a community-centered place. When I came here for a visit, 3 days visit, I was just playing around with my friends, a regular game of football here. And within that conversation, they brought up an idea to host a tournament, but the bigger picture of that tournament is to give back to the community.
Teams and individuals from various parts of the community have paid contributions, with each compound receiving a donation letter and donation boxes to collect contributions. Organizers hope to raise enough funds to install new refrigeration units, buy a van, and give the building a complete facelift. Pamodu Sar, Alpha Sidibe, and Sekti Jandur tells us about the initiative.
Create a fundraising boo xam ne
dañoo dajale xaalis enough xaalis ñu make sure ne mutual.
Our drive is community contribution and to ensure that our loved ones who passed away are given dignified, respectful treatment through taking care of their body at the mortuary. We are targeting a huge amount at the end of the competition, which is $1 million. At least we cherish the community participation. This initiative has been going on for 2 years, but we've not managed to raise enough funds, which is why we decided to expand it. We used to play on Saturdays, but now with this competition, there is a lot of contributions from the community and the diaspora.
So currently, we are almost close to $200,000.
On the pitch, it was a case of fun rather than anyone seeking to have a competitive edge against each other. This tournament is another testament of community resilience and self-reliance for development. Mamudu Gajaga, Qtv News.
That's all we have for this news bulletin. Join us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.